I wanted to start this series because recently I have been meeting so many amazing people have been coming into my life and carrying so much wisdom around healing, spirituality, sensuality. So I'm honored to have you here to talk today about feminine embodiment and erotic wisdom. This is Milagros. She is a beautiful soul that I have met here in my time in Bali. And she hosts women's workshops to support women in really understanding and connecting deeply with their bodies and their feminine essence, and allowing that to create a source of limitless power through which they can move through the world and bring their gifts in the most beautiful way. So thank you, Mila, for joining me. I'm very happy to have you here.
Happy to be here. It's so beautiful how you put it. Thank you.
Fabulous. So maybe we can start by you telling us a little bit more about how did you get into this work?
Yeah, it's been a journey, a very beautiful one, but also a very challengeful one, because this is not something that we are ever teach, and I think this is something that we've been very disconnected from. So, like, for me, the journey, I would say, it started since I was very young. Even though I was not very conscious about it. All my experiences in life was leading me to these moments of like understanding more and more of this Asian wisdom and this embodiment and who am I in this body. And this is all, what I do is all about this. Who am I in this body, and how can I be fully that expression, and how can I really feel alive in this body with what it is that I am. So fully owning that, each part of that. And yeah, I would say more conscious, like since I was little, I've been, or younger, I have always had this inclination to sexuality, sensuality. I have deep love for women, of course. I am a woman, but it was beyond that. I remember one day I was listening to this show, and this woman was a sexologist, and she was talking about how 90% of more of women never reach the state of orgasm or ecstasy in their bodies, and like how women are more inclined to have this develop disease because of this, because this was one of the reasons. And also another reason she mentioned was like we women tend to oppress and suppress so much that creates a lot of disease in the body.
It can create sickness in the body, right? When we're carrying a lot of emotions and storing them inside, and we don't have the tools or the knowledge about how to process those and move those through. So, wow, I agree. I feel that this work is so important and powerful. So can you tell us a little bit more about what does it mean, sensual embodiment? What is it?
Yeah, so that definitely was very impactful for me. And coming more into my adulthood and going through different experiences in life, where I got a moment where I got kind of like secluded from the freedom of my beingness, let's say, like, so it felt very oppressive in my sense of being and me as a woman and as a human in general. And then coming back to being physically able to breathe again, or be in my in a sense of freedom more when it was COVID. The world was shut down. We were asked to be secluded and deny our freedom for our safety. And So my safety became dance, became nature, became having this communion or relationship with nature, and where like all my senses started to open up more and more, and where I was able to tune in into deeper things. So sensuality and how I use sensuality is more like through awakening the sensual intelligence of the body, which is something that we all have, especially women. And sensuality is just the way that we embrace and we are connected to our senses. And we know we have 5 senses, right? But we also have a 6th sense.
Oh.
And that sense is the sense of intuition, the sense of magic, the sense of knowing something that is not so much tangible, but that we can tune into. And the 5 senses are like the doorway to tune more into this 6th sense, and where we can feel life more deeply and more fully, and really have this deep connection and understanding with who we are as humans and with our experience. So the more that we are connected with this sense of embodied intelligence, sensual intelligence, the more the body has the capacity to enrich our experience.
So what I understand is that we need to really tap into these senses that feel quite physical to us for us to truly be able to tap into our intuition, which is really that divine power that's coming to us as a woman. So by really, really connecting with those that when we are present and when we sit with it, you know, touch, scent, eye, sight, we can really kind of go deep, and then that is heightening our ability to receive messages or connect with that 6th sense.
Yes. And this is so important to me. Like it has become like the thing, you know, because I feel like nowadays many people are so disconnected, and so much has been done for humans to be disconnected from the body and live in this like fast-paced way, and where there's like complete numbness from our body, from our senses, from our feelings, for the connection with nature, and how that actually coming back to that really connect us, like you were saying, with this sacred aspect of ourselves, then have us experiencing life in a more intimate way, not just with each other, like with oneself, with one another, with the land, with everything, with the experience. So everything becomes heightened because you feel this intimate connection with everything.
So how can we feel something like this if we live in a city, for example? I mean, we're in this beautiful location right now with nature all around. It's a little bit easier to tap into this feeling. But what if I'm in an apartment in a city, for example? How can I feel that aliveness and that connection to nature?
Yes, of course. Well, the most important thing, I said, the technology of sensuality and the feminine wisdom is slowing down. So really connecting with this slowing down will have us more present in our bodies. For example, we are having this tea right now, and which is delicious, by the way. Thank you so much.
Of course.
But it's just being, not just taking in the tea, but being with the tea, being able to smell it, take it in, allow it to simmer in our bodies, the smell of it, allow it to come down in our bodies, and really tap into that. You know, and it's just like a sacred moment. Now I'm having an intimate moment with the tea, and I can really appreciate the tea beyond just being the tea. Now I can appreciate the cinnamon And I can really, before tasting it in my mouth, I can really feel it in my body. And somehow this starts to making my body more open to receive it. So it's like now the tea, I'm not only taking the tea is penetrating me because I'm feeling the tea with all of my body. So it's not just an experience of, oh, yes, I'm taking the tea, it's delicious. It's like a full immersed experience. So slowing down really make the experience a more sacred. So it's like taking the profane, or what we call the mundane, to another level of connection. And this is not, it's not a concept of the mind. It's more like the more that you slow down and that you allow yourself these moments, the body awakens to this intelligence.
I love that you went into that, because I feel like when I hear the words sensual embodiment or erotic wisdom, the first thing for me that comes up is sex.
Yes.
And I think this is quite common and something you educate women a lot about in your work.
Yeah.
Kind of using this ability to connection deeply with the mundane and still have a kind of sensual and sexual experience with that, without judging it, without putting those conceptions that sometimes we can hold around sex almost being unpure in some way.
Yes.
And separating that mentality and putting that into our day-to-day life.
Yes. So this is a lot for me, and what I teach comes from, I believe, this ancient wisdom of the feminine that we have been disconnected from, because we know that we live in a male-dominated world, and we have kind of like accustomed ourselves to this male-dominating ways, and us women have another rhythm and a deep wisdom, as the feminine is the mater, the mother. And so coming back to this wisdom, it's really more about aliveness and the experience with life, and how you become in this divine union, or this divine communion, this love making with life, and where every experience goes beyond just the experience. You know, there's a deeper wisdom underlying everything. And even in the moments that can be challenging, we can still receive that with a level of pleasure and understanding. And of course, like you said, there's a lot of connotation when we say sensual and erotic with sex. And I always say it can enhance, you know, having sensual intelligence and erotic wisdom definitely will enhance our sexual life. 100% better sexual understanding, and much more pleasure. But it's not about that. It's more about awakening the intelligence of the body, so you can actually understand the sacredness and the beauty of everything that you're experiencing. So there's like this deep connection.
Gorgeous. And of course, I'm sure that when you are tapped into these senses in such a deep way, that sex also becomes so much more meaningful and powerful.
Beautiful. Powerful, more pleasurable, more sacred, because then it's not only the experience of the body, which is beautiful, because yes, we have these bodies to enjoy and be in, but it becomes an experience that goes beyond the body. So the senses really open ourselves to really have, when I talk about erotic wisdom, I use these words of curiosity, fascination, wonderment.
Beautiful.
Which open us up to more than what is happening on the surface level. And what is so wrong with sexuality? We are sexual beings, you know? So this is another understanding, is that when we are in tune with our sensual and erotic wisdom, we open ourselves to these aspects of us that's been denied, oppressed, and labeled as sinful or wrong, or that take us away from something, when we actually are here in this life, in this body, because of sexual act. So it's not the sexual that is the problem, it's the ways that we encounter and the way that we believe, or the relationship we have with sex and with sexuality, how we see and perceive and understand sexuality. Of course, it's how we then live our sexuality. So once that we tap into this wisdom, intelligence of the body that goes beyond the body, the body is just a doorway to actually tap into this higher level of sensitivity. Then, like you were saying, even love making becomes more powerful, more pleasurable, more sacred, more beautiful, because it takes you deeper.
I like how you connect this concept of sensuality with the divine. I think that coming back to using our body as kind of this gateway or doorway for us to tap into our intuition, which is really that connection to something greater than us, a spiritual connection, that we can use our body as a tool to help with this, actually, and deepen our spiritual experience and wisdom.
Definitely. Definitely. The way that I have connected to this in my body and my being is that we are not separate from that, but we have become separate from that in our belief, in our state of being. So the body is just the doorway to, again, come back to this understanding and inner knowing of, like, we are not separate. We have never been separate. And the more that we feel and tune into that, the more that we can be full, express, sovereign, free, loving, beautiful
Everything.
beings. Yeah, it's
Beautiful.
like,
wow. So you mentioned the tea and being present with the tea, but I'm curious, how else can we practice this in our day-to-day life? Like, what does it look like? How can we integrate this in as we go about and move about our day?
just tea. So yes. So I would say definitely the first and most important thing is the technology of slowing down. It's like, I would say that's the number one thing. Taking moments during the day to really connect with the breath, because the breath is the way that you feel into your life, into your beingness. And the more that we connect with these moments of, like, coming back to oneself and the breath, we can tap into more of our body, like the vibrations in our body. We can feel like whatever's present. When we are always doing something outside and going in the fast way, we are not really tuning in to what's happening inside.
Okay, that's beautiful. I do feel that we might lose a lot of people when we talk about slowing down, because for a lot of people it doesn't feel feasible today, right? Like jobs, children, society, just expectations to meet up with our friends. There's so many things that we are juggling. So do you have any advice on how we can slow down without, stopping all of these beautiful things that we are doing and creating in our lives and working on?
Well, that can be one of the challenge that we meet. because this is the technology. It's taking time to do that.
Yeah.
And we're not, the world will tell us like, this is important and that is important and that is important. It's for us to decide what is important truly. The outside world, or this connection with yourself and with having more pleasure, connection with the divine. And when I say pleasure, it's just the pleasure of being alive, like really savoring your experience, like really feeling that you are happy to have that experience, that you're happy to be here, that you're living.
And I can see how not rushing and really sitting with things and experiencing them more deeply can allow us to do that. So I agree. I do think it is really about prioritizing, and maybe there is an incentive to prioritize this if there's an understanding around how this can impact our lives. So maybe you can share a little bit about, since you started doing these practices, how has the way that you have experienced life been different? How have your relationships been different?
Yes, thank you for that question. First, I will give some other tools that might help, because when I say slow down, that doesn't mean that we have to stop our life. It means having moments. Deciding I'm going to take a moment of the day to prioritize myself.
Yeah.
And my connection to myself. And find out more about myself. Or my pleasure, you know? If you feel that you are a man or a woman who's numb, who doesn't feel anything, who feels completely disconnected from their experiences, their body, their pleasure, their life, you're just doing. Then, it's important to make the decision to take moments for yourself. So another practice will be connecting with the breath, finding moments of pleasure for yourself. It can be just like enjoying your meal. For example, you still are eating, but you're going to decide to eat slowly your meal, to really connect with your meal, appreciate your meal, and be one with your meal, and allow your senses to tune in.
Okay, so we don't have to like carve time out of our day, actually. This is something we can do while we are moving through our life.
Exactly. It's like it's incorporating whatever we are doing in our life, finding moments that we can, if you are in a park, for example, maybe instead of just like running and just, with your headphones and not taking anything in, you actually are running, but your inner being is slowing down, because then you are like tuning in, like you're opening. Instead of listening to music, you're maybe opening your sense of listening, to listen to birds, to listen to air. You're tuning into your body, so you're allowing that when the air hits your face, you can really feel into it. You put something in your mouth and you're allowed to savor it. You touch something and you allow that. It's tuning in. It's allowing that moment to be fully present. That's the word that I'm fully present with what is happening, instead of just like, okay, I'm running, listening to my music and just doing my thing. Tuning out, actually, just like, okay, I'm doing this action, but I'm not, and maybe 1,000 thoughts in my head, planning my day. I have to do this, that. It's really about tuning in. Okay, so I'm going to take this moment to actually tune in with how things feel. This sensual intelligence is like a muscle. We haven't used it. It's there. We take a lot of consideration for our IQ, like how our IQ is about the things that we learn in school, but we have no understanding of our essential IQ, which has a higher understanding, a higher intelligence. So once that we tune into this, for sure we will have more and more and more understandings of the body, and then once that we tune into this understanding, we can have more clear directions, because the body is really always communicating with us. And
Yeah,
okay.
but it's up to us to.
Yes. So how this have changed my life and my experience? Wow, tremendously. like everyone else, I live my life very disconnected most of my life, and not really, always wondering, like, what is this? What am I doing here? Like, what is the purpose of me being here in this world? Like, everything seems so shallow. And so again, like, I'm always doing something, chasing something, but nothing really gives me fulfillment, nothing really gives me pleasure, nothing, like, so what is the point of this, you know?
Always moving towards something, but those goalposts keep moving. I can understand this feeling.
And nothing really feels pleasurable. It's just like, okay, I think that when I get that, I'm going to be happy. And because of that, I just keep moving through life.
Right.
But nothing really fulfilled me. And, you know, what this sensual embodiment has given me is, again, the feeling of understanding life on a deeper level. And that gives me meaning in so many levels.
Wow.
And all my experiences in relationship, for example, in the way that I consecrate, or like I'm eating, you know, there are moments and where, like, one moment I can be just eating my food, no presence, and doesn't mean anything. I'm just giving my body the sense of, okay, my body wants food, so let me give it food. But then the moments that I actually slow down and really take that in, and like this with everything, it becomes, there's a fulfillment there. There's a level of connection there. There's a level of understanding there that comes, that it doesn't happen so much in the mind. It's a fulfillment that is of the body, that feels like I have meaning. My existence has meaning. My life has meaning. Being here has a meaning. And that becomes pleasurable, because then I am more open, more allowing.
Gorgeous. Do you think your relationships have changed as well, or the way people interact or perceive you?
I think the way that I have changed. I don't know so much the other people, but the way that I perceive my relationship has changed. The way that I connect with other people have changed. The way that I feel into people in my connections, either in intimacy or in just relating, have changed.
Beautiful.
Have gone from really shallow to, like, deeper meaning, deeper understanding. And the sense of sacredness.
So because you are more deeply connected with yourself and the world around you, this enables you to have deeper connections with others, and probably for them to receive you in this way as well.
Yes.
Wow, that's beautiful. This energy of sensuality, it feels quite receptive, right? As we are feeling the air on our skin, we're enjoying the food, the sensations, the taste that's coming in, and everything that is provided to us on a day-to-day by Mother Nature.
Yes.
This is a very, like, feminine, receptive energy.
Yes.
Do you feel that this heightens our ability to embody our feminine essence?
100%. 100% is one of the things that, again, coming back to relearning or remembering a wisdom that we have been disconnected from, that has been completely shut down, of this, not only for the women, for like you said, an energy that is in everything. And it has been completely oppressed, suppressed, and denied. This intelligence we have been completely disconnected from. So now it's like, I feel she's coming back.
Yeah.
Like I'm here. And it's time for me to reclaim my space.
We just had a small technical difficulty. So we
go with the flow.
Exactly.
That's what happens in life.
That's right. So just to close that thought that you were talking about, how this energy is kind of reinvigorating into our lives, is coming back, right?
Yes, it's an energy. The energy of the feminine it's part of who we are, what we are, and in this beautiful planet, in these beautiful bodies, right? We all have this, men and women, and it's an intelligence that it has been shut down, and we're not going to go to that conversation. That's
episode.
Another whole episode. But yes, she is awakening and asking now to take back the space and to bring balance to this earth. And when I mean bring balance, it's like to allow her wisdom and her intelligence, which we can understand by that is like coming back to that connection with oneself and with her, with this earth and with each other and with the divine. So that's her wisdom. It's, yes, I am in this life, I am a human, but I have a deep connection and a deep purpose of being in this life. And when I say purpose, I don't necessarily mean like external things. It's just my relationship with myself, my relationship with others, my relationship to life, my relationship to her.
Because really we are here for life just to be expressed through us, right? So we need to like allow that as much as possible, and then we will have such a beautiful and
very different experience. Yes. So I say like we will move from the healing to the being.
Wow.
And we will allow in the being more celebration, more pleasure, more embodiment, more connection.
Yes.
With everything.
That's amazing, and I would love to invite that in because it sounds so beautiful. So, gosh, I could just continue having this conversation with you all day. You have so much deep knowledge and wisdom, and I think it's so important that it is shared. So thank you for taking the time to share this, and I'm sure we will do a part 2. I would love to go deeper into the dark feminine as well, which I know is very close to your heart. We have a lot of ground to cover, but we will leave it here for now and maybe finish the tea and take a dip.